What is content reuse? Creating content takes a lot of time and energy, so it only makes sense to reuse rather than rewrite. Every department has content that gets used a lot. Marketing, human resources, sales, technical communications, all of these departments are constantly reusing recurring chunks of content, such as industry terms, product descriptions, the company about us page, terms of service, assembly instructions, you get the idea. So to reuse, they copy and paste? That's no sweat, right? Sort of. By no sweat, I mean it's fast and it takes very little effort initially. Fast and low effort does not mean that it's healthy for your documentation. Candy bars and soda pop are easy to consume. I never had to bargain with my child to get them to finish their chocolate bar. But if you rely on those as staples of your diet, you start to feel the effects quickly. Likewise with copy and paste, your content gets weighed down with outdated, pasted items that need constant manual updates. So if not copy and paste, what is the healthy diet that your docs need? If you've been watching these videos, you know that we're obsessed with structured content. We made a whole video about it. Structured content is content that conforms to a predetermined standard. And this standard makes your content understandable to systems and applications. Structured content is also arranged as these modular chunks that are self-contained, like building blocks. They can contribute to a larger creation, but they also have some standalone value all by themselves. These building blocks of content are sometimes called topics or micro-content, but we're going to use the word components. Components are crucial to reuse. With structured content, you don't copy and paste a paragraph. You reference and link a component. You can learn more about components and component content management systems in one of our other videos. Now, reusing components via reference and linking, that's a game changer. It makes content assembly fast and easy, but even more useful is that when you have to make a change, you only update that original component. Then that change is automatically applied to every linked component. Okay. Now we have a general understanding of reuse, so let's get specific. There are 4 primary ways to accomplish reuse: topic level, element level, variable phrase level, and filtering or conditional processing. First, topics. Topics are components of content about a single idea. Topics make up a majority of the content that we reuse. The introduction to your sales brochures, assembly instructions, product part details, things like that. Those are all topics. Here's an example. Let's say that you write for a unicycle manufacturer and you have 10 different unicycle models. Now, all 10 of these models use the same axle crank. With topic reuse, you write the assembly instructions once, and then you reuse for all 10 manuals. In the future, if your part sourcing changes, you only need to update that original. That change then automatically occurs everywhere that the topic was reused. Second, element reuse. Element reuse is similar to topic reuse. An element is a smaller component that sits within a topic. You might have the same element reused multiple times in the same document. For example, you still write for that unicycle manufacturer. Your company sells within the state of California. California is known for their restrictive laws on unicycle usage. In your brochure, you have multiple warning elements. These warning elements state that the legal age of unicycle usage in the state of California is 21. Now, you can reuse this element across all of your documentation. Okay, you just finished reusing this element, and you find out that the youth of California have revolted. Now, through their activism, the oppressive restriction to their joy has been reduced. 15 is the new legal unicycle age. But good news, you only have to update that original warning element, and that change will apply across all of your documentation. Now, the third type of reuse is phrase or word level. We also call this variable content. This type is different from the previous 2 reuse methods. With variable content, we can automatically change a word based on the context. This is done by tagging certain words or phrases that are more likely to change. Typical examples are product names, company addresses, titles, really anything you like. Content strategists can get creative with this. Any word that is likely to change a lot receives a tag as a variable, and then you add a context map to your content. A context map is a table that assigns an ID value to your variable tags. This sounds complex, but it's a really common idea. You can think of it like the contacts list in your cell phone. Let's say you want to call your mom. Call your mom, she misses you. You would pull out your phone and select mom from your contacts list. Hey mom, yeah, no, I'm recording a video. Yeah, Oh, it's about structured content reuse. Yeah, right now. No, I'm using this as part of a more relatable example. However, if you used a friend's phone and selected mom from their contacts list. Hey, can I borrow your phone? No, this is a friend of his. I'm trying to call my mom. No, I think you're a little bit confused. You get the idea. The phone uses a contact list to assign a phone number to a contact name. In the same way, your system uses a context map to assign an ID value to your variable content. In this system, you can choose different context maps that allow you to have different variable content for the same ID value. Let's see this in action with our unicycle. Here's a topic. Now you'll see here that the product name and the skill level are both tagged as variables. If I reuse this topic for a document for the Nitro 2 unicycle with a Nitro 2 context map, the variables change to match the ID values from the context map. Likewise, if this was in a document for the Sunside Sailor, the variables would match the context again. This is nice with a paragraph, but if you consider the implications for all of your content, days or even weeks worth of effort is done in minutes. The last type of reuse is a way to filter content, and it's called conditional processing. Now, conditional processing lets you tag components for different audiences. It's a great way to hyper-personalize your documentation for multiple audiences. Conditional processing is so powerful and exciting that we made another video just about it. But why does this matter? Structured reuse is old news with technical communicators, but it's finally starting to gain traction for other departments. This is because structured reuse with components provides a way to deliver content that is more personalized, accurate, easier to manage, faster to create and assemble, faster to publish, and more exciting to develop. With structured content reuse, your company knowledge is ready to deploy.